Milleuda Folles enters as an enemy commander. A rebel blocking your path. From the moment she speaks, something shifts. She does not beg. She does not curse. She challenges. Her words cut deeper than her blade. And with each encounter, it becomes harder to see her as the villain. She fights not for gold, not for revenge, not for glory. She fights for dignity in a world that denies it to anyone without a title. To the nobility, she is a criminal. To her brother Wiegraf, she is the heart of a dying cause. To Ramza, she is a mirror he cannot face. Milleuda is no footnote in someone else's war. She is the conscience of the Corpse Brigade. Her time on the stage is brief. Her words echo long after her death. She is not forgotten. She never surrendered. Milleuda's story begins with war. She fought in the 50 Years' War alongside her brother Wiegraf, not as a noble knight, but as a commoner who bled for a kingdom that promised nothing in return. She served in a volunteer unit known as the Dead Men, low-born soldiers who bled on the same fields as dukes and barons, yet received none of the respect. When the war ended, those noble officers returned to their keeps and titles. Milleuda and her comrades were cast aside. No compensation, no honors, just silence. One captured rebel says it plainly. We fought for our kingdom at peril of our very lives. The moment the war ended, they turned us out into the streets, he recounted. This betrayal defines Milleuda's worldview. She does not simply resent the aristocracy. She knows exactly how it works. She lived through the myth of shared sacrifice and saw how quickly that illusion shattered once peace was declared. By the time we meet her in Chapter 1, Milleuda has no illusions left. Her rebellion is not born from chaos. It is born from cold clarity. The kingdom showed her what her life was worth to them. She fights to prove otherwise. And that fight began with a choice. Milleuda was not dragged into rebellion. She chose it. She helped to form the Corpse Brigade, not as a mere passive supporter, but as a battlefield leader. We do not hear about her from others. We meet her directly, commanding troops, issuing orders, standing her ground. The Swordmaiden of the Corpse Brigade. She does not hide behind ideology. Rather, she wields it. When confronted by Ramza's forces, she neither pleads nor postures. She explains, we fight because we must. You see a band of outlaws, but we see a world that left us no choice. Milleuda's leadership is rooted in conviction, while others in the brigade resort to kidnapping and sabotage. She fights with purpose. Her loyalty is not only to her brother or her comrades. It is to the people who live and die unnoticed by the nobility. Every battle she wages is an act of resistance, a refusal to be erased. Even surrounded, outnumbered, or wounded, she never wavers. Nobles dismiss her as a rogue. Those who face her on the field understand she is something else entirely. Milleuda does not want to burn Ivalice down. She wants to rebuild it, on ground where all stand equal. She will die for it. But before her death, she makes one man understand the cost of that ground. Milleuda's most memorable moments come not from combat, but from confrontation. Across multiple encounters with Ramza Beoulve, their dialogue forms the emotional spine of the Corpse Brigade's story. Ramza sees the injustice. He sympathizes, but sympathy is not enough. You speak of honor and equality, But you've never gone hungry. You've never had to bury a brother because a noble needed more grain for his stores, she tells him. Her words shatter Ramza's idealism. The privilege he was born into protect him, even when he claims to reject them. Milleuda doesn't ask for understanding, she demands accountability. At one point, she throws his name back at him, saying, "You say we are the same. Then cast down your title, live as we do." It isn't a challenge, it's a truth. Ramza can walk away. She cannot. These clashes are more than political, they're personal. Milleuda isn't trying to win Ramza over. She's trying to make him see the system he defends, even unconsciously, is broken. In a world that praises silence, Milleuda raises her voice. Whether Ramza listens or not, he cannot unhear her. But words alone will not rebuild Ivalice, and Milleuda knows it. Milleuda's final stand comes at the Lenalian Plateau. Outnumbered and outmatched. Wounded and surrounded, she is given a choice. Surrender and face trial, or die fighting. She does not hesitate, saying, "I'd sooner die on my feet than live in chains." Her fight was never about survival. It was about dignity. She knew how the nobility treated prisoners. No fair trial, no mercy, no change. She refused to be paraded as an example of failure. Even as blood stains the ground around her, Milleuda stands firm. Not because she believes she will win, but rather because surrender would betray everything she has fought for. Her death is not cinematic. There's no slow-motion farewell, no dramatic monologue. Only silence and absence. But that absence echoes. Ramza feels it. Wiegraf feels it. For the player, it lingers longer than most victories. Milleuda did not die a villain. She died defending a principle. In a game full of betrayals, shifting loyalties, and political masks, Milleuda's conviction remains pure to the end. She never compromised, and she never knelt. But even the purest conviction can take different forms. Her brother understood this better than anyone. Milleuda and Wiegraf fought for the same cause, but they walked different paths. Wiegraf held tightly to honor. Even as a rebel, he tried to follow the rules of knighthood. He condemned cruelty, punished betrayal, and guarded the moral core of their movement. Milleuda understood that justice does not always wear armor. She saw that the world would not be changed by restraint. Where Wiegraf hesitated, Milleuda pressed forward. Her speeches were declarations, not diplomacy. "We are not chattel. We are humans, no less than you," she would say. Direct, earned, necessary. Wiegraf respected her deeply. After her death, something in him breaks. The ideals he clung to begin to erode. He becomes quieter, harder. No longer a knight trying to win justice, but a soldier trying to survive in a world that took everything from him. Milleuda's influence lingers in the silence she leaves behind. She was his compass, his conscience. Without her, the line between vengeance and justice blurs. Their contrast is part of what makes their story powerful. Together, they made the Corpse Brigade more than a rebellion. They made it a statement. And when one of them fell, that statement unraveled. But here's the paradox. The woman who caused it to fall never truly left. Milleuda Folles dies in Chapter 1, but her presence never fades. Her words haunt the narrative long after her body falls, and her ideals shape the choices others make, especially Ramza. She was not a general or a noble, not chosen by fate. Milleuda was a commoner who refused to accept the world as it was. That refusal, spoken aloud on the battlefield in defiance of armies, became her legacy. To the nobility, she is a mere footnote in a brief rebellion. To those crushed by the same system, she is more than a name. She is proof that someone stood up and said no. She was not a hero when she died, not in the eyes of the powerful. Yet her refusal to bend, to betray herself, to accept chains, outlived her. In the ruins of the Corpse Brigade, in Wiegraf's unraveling, in Ramza's quiet shift in perspective, her absence still shapes the story. Milleuda never got justice. She never got peace. But she got the last word, and that word was truth. Truth about what the war cost. Truth about what nobility means. Truth about who gets to be remembered. Even in silence, Milleuda speaks. Milleuda Folles, the Swordmaiden, appears only in a handful of scenes. Yet, she matters as much as any major character in Ivalice. She doesn't wield a title or uncover secrets. She doesn't shape the throne. She does something rarer. She tells the truth and refuses to compromise. She doesn't hide her pain or temper her anger. She names injustice and demands to be heard. When the world offers silence, she answers with resistance. Was she a rebel? Yes. Was she wrong? That is the question the game never forces you to answer, but never lets you forget. Milleuda's death closes a chapter, but it opens a wound. One that never heals for Ramza. One that breaks Wiegraf. One that reveals what the kingdom truly is to everyone paying attention. She didn't live long enough to see change, but she stood for it, alone and unbending. Not many characters in Final Fantasy Tactics say exactly what they believe and die for it. Milleuda says it. Milleuda dies for it. She is not a forgotten enemy on a windswept plateau. She is what she truly was. A voice the world tried to silence, and could not.